Hey guys, at this point in time you should know this is spoiler reviews, so just click off now. Today's my review on Ghostbusters 2, 1989. It came out in 1989. But I'm so sorry. I got fantasy and action, and it's an hour and 50 minutes long. So it takes place 5 years after the events of the first one. Crack that is leaking some of the slime. We see Dana having a kid, and she asks his man for some help with grocery, but the buggy ends up getting some of that slime in it and possesses the buggy, and it pushes it into the road, and she catches it in the Ghostbuster. And then we see the Ecto one. Ray and Winston pull up to a house. They go to this kids party, and all the time they start doing their theme song. Something strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call? And they went, hey man. And I was like, just go and have a beer. Oh, and there's also a really funny scene where this kid comes up to them and goes, my dad thinks you're full of crap. Talks about the first, basically gives everyone details. But then we got some backstory of what happened after the events of the first one. Peter and Dana dated, then they broke up, then Dana got married, had a kid, and then got divorced. Oh, they were doing these social experiments in the background where they're like, we told him he's going counselling, but he's really not. And they're like, let's take away the dog. Because they gave her this girl. Then the second one, they gave the girl a puppy, but then let's take away the puppy. So I wash my hands a lot of times now, they're really sticky. We see Vigor artwork. Vigor, happier. And Peter meets the baby, and then they inspect the room, and then they find out that they check out the buggy stop location by digging up the ground. They lower Ray down underground. You know what happens. He sees the pink light, but then it's river of slime. Will resurface later. Peter makes excuses to the police, but then Ray collects slime samples. But then the slime start reaching for him, and he pulls up and he kicks some wiring, and that caused a blackout. And then the Janosch, I don't know how you pronounce it. I think it's Janosch or Janosch, the art director, the person Dana's working for, comes over to her house after being possessed by Vigor, the Carpathian fucker, and basically he asks to come see the baby. And she knows it's a bit weird, so she's like, no. And then she shuts the door. She's like, oh, I'm just making sure you're alright, and then leaves. But you see the first sign of him being possessed because his eyes glow up. The Ghostbuster actually got arrested. Yeah. Lewis is the Ghostbusters lawyer. They have a court scene, and they keep going through evidence, and evidence sees the ones that are like, nah, that's not true. But then when Ray started to notice that slime was bubbling every time someone showed an angry emotion, so it started bubbling when they jumped, and they give him $25,000 fine. $5,000 fine. 18 months in jail in Baker Island. I'll have you in contempt, and then the slime goes crazy. And it releases 2 ghosts, at which the Ghostbusters already duck under the table, but the lawyer actually gets his desk bombed. I'm so sorry. And the judge gets on the table with the Ghostbusters. They learn their names are the Scaneri brothers, and the judge sentences them to death, the electric chair, for their murders. Then the courtroom get out there. Table gets lifted and they run away to cover. The female lawyer, the one doing the opposite team, gets dragged off by the ghosts. And then then the order is disallowed, which, if you don't know what the order was, basically they had 18 months where they could not use any of their equipment. But they capture the ghosts after a load of chairs get flying, and I broke down this there's a new montage of scenes of captures with ghosts with the new theme where it's that song. Looks cool. Also showed rebranded. They rebrand the logo to show the second building they have had. Sounds and looks cool. No, I read that. They hired Lewis now as another secretary. Ray Egon captured slime on the stairs, and they have a new ad. They also rebrand the uniforms. We see Slimer again. He's eating Lewis's lunch, and he comes on and he goes, ah! And they all run in opposite directions. But then it comes back to Ray shouting at Slime and just showing what it's capable of. And they've put it into a toaster, and it started bubbling around and dancing. The music is used later for the Liberty scene. Peter heads to Dana's work and Alright, so apparently Vigor, the guy in the guy in the painting, is smiling, and then when she turns around, he's not. He's got his pissed off, serious face. And apparently Vigor is a real life human, committed genocide before dying and put it in the painter. And then Peter says he's suffering from Carpathian cat loss. Then tries to add one. Then let's add one. Then tries to get in. No, get out. And then the Ghostbusters turn around and see that he was talking to the thing, but Ray's in some sort of like stance type thing where he's just staring. Then Dana actually gets attacked while running Oscar a bath, and the slime is attacking her. And they get out the apartment. They find out the source. Ray, Egon, and Winston head to the tunnel while Peter has dinner with Dana. They hear a train, and it's actually a ghost train that actually runs through Winston. On page 5 or 7, guys. There's this head scene where Winston, one of them gets shoved up, falls over. Ray falls over and goes over her head, and it's just a load of heads on spikes. And then Ray finds a way out, and then they find the river of slime. And then Winston puts the wire in, and he starts getting tugs up. I'm gonna fall in, and he falls in, and you can just see his head like bobbing away when he gets dragged out. And then they go, oh, and it flashes back to their date. They have a toast, and then Lewis and Janice are babysitting the baby, and they're on the date. Ray emerges with Winston and Egon, and Ray and Winston almost fought. They have a fight. Slime was the cause of this, and when they took their clothes off, they were fine. They tried to tell Peter, but they looked insane and were sent to the jail, where Jack was put them in and locked them up. Oscar was taken. Then, while that was happening, Oscar Yanish talks to the Vigor, and you see how much his power has come over the possession, because now he had stretchy arms and he was like a nanny. He put it in the baby and then drove off. Brings Oscar to the museum with Dana, and we got slime bursting scene where the slime actually creates loads of ghosts come up, and there's some really notable scenes from this. They turn the scarf into bitey dogs, and then they run off, which is quite funny. There was a dinosaur type thing, and then the Titanic pulls up and lets all the ghosts off. Well, and then some random guy says, well, better late than never, which I generally thought was pretty funny. And then basically the reason why it was so funny is because his face was like, and then it's like, better late than never, and then he goes back to, you know what I mean? Then the Ghostbusters get to Liberty, and they're like, we'll never get in, I've got away. They got positive slime at this point. They positive slime the Liberty turns it to alive, and they fire Jack, by the way, because the Ghostbusters were putting it in shoot for Jack when they needed him the most, and then they smash through there and slime the art director. So, and it seems like they're all saved. Dana, Oscar, Peter, and all the Ghostbusters. Nope, because Vigor is actually getting out of the painting to steal her kid. We've got one last full page of work, and we're done. They beam Vigor, but Vigor is too strong and shuts their body down, so they can't move. Then Vigor finds Oscar, and then Vigor starts insulting him, and then Vigor uses powers to torture them. And then they stop the process of translating, but then they hear singing, and it puts him back in the Vigo. In that point, Lewis was getting on the bus to help him from the outside, and Slime was the bus driver. Well, I've seen Weirdo and he hops on, but he starts beaming the outside, and then Vigor looks like he's back in the painting, and he becomes like demon-like. But then Ray gets tranced again, and he is now Vigor. But he slimes him and puts it back in the painting where they'll beam him and they kill him. Then they sorry guys if it messed up the camera, it was low power mode. But sorry if you guys hear something. But yeah, Janusz wakes up and they hug it out. Paintings change to the Ghostbusters in like the old fashioned sort of that. The film ends with the credits having extended and blooper scenes and what happened after the fight. I gave this film a 5 out of 5. It was so underrated and one of the best sequels ever. Bye bye. Hope you guys did enjoy my review. Bye bye.